Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, the one and only hosting Cruz, bringing you another exciting edition of boxing. Don't forget to hit and to like, subscribe to my channel. It's always greatly appreciated. Stay tuned. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, hosting Cruz, and guys, I am here to talk about in what was a truly entertaining night of boxing at the Cosmopolitan on Las Vegas. Last night on the Zone, Matchroom Boxing. Which main event, which the main event was a pretty fantastic fight between two top super middleweights, Diego Pacheco and Stephen Cool Boy Nelson. Now, before I get into the main event, I'm going to talk about the card um, in its entirety, the main card. And let's kick things off, ladies and gentlemen, like how they kick things off with Leonardo Rubalcaba versus Israel Mercado. Now, this was a fight at 140 pounds. Leonardo Rubalcaba, 22 years old, 9-0, 3 KOs coming in, fighting out of the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy in Oxnard. I think they recently moved the gym again. But yeah, fighting out of Robert Garcia Boxing Academy, taking on Israel Mercado, 29 years old, 11 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 7 knockouts coming in. He is the uncle, based on what they said last night on the card, and that he's the uncle of Ernesto Mercado, who took on Pedraza later on in the card, which I'm going to get to in a second. Interesting. You got an uncle and a nephew fighting on the same card. Interesting. Anyway, Let's get back into the fight. Um, it was a very exciting fight. Exciting opener. Not the greatest fight you'll ever see, but not a bad one either. But the results were left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, including mine, because Leonardo Rubalcaba, 22 years old, 9-0 coming in. He was, in my opinion, I think the favorite coming in. Even though he's 22 and undefeated and younger than Israel Mercado. Israel Mercado coming in with a little more experience. You think about it. He's coming from Robert Garcia Boxing Academy. He's young, undefeated. He has punching power. He's Mexican, and Matchroom got him on there to see what he can do as well. But guess what? He did not impress. Did he put up a valiant effort? Yes, he did. He did not give up. Um, he never stopped trying. But the results, based on what I saw, and I know many of you guys did as well, the fight was scored a draw. Now, to me, the fight should have been a unanimous decision lost for Leonardo. Israel Mercado deserved to walk away. He had deserved to walk away with that decision win, unanimous. The fight, as many of you saw it, Israel Mercado with a uncomfortable style. Punches were coming from all over the place. Leonardo was getting hit everywhere: elbows, hips, uppercuts, hooks, and Leonardo was not able to adjust to any of it. And he was just too predictable, which is what made Israel Mercado, so become so effective, because Israel was totally the opposite. He was unpredictable, and Leonardo was predictable. And being predictable got Leonardo ears boxed off. It was so bad that I'm like, wow, this is a Robert Garcia's fighter. Is he fighting out of Robert Garcia's boxing academy, really? Because usually you'll see Robert Garcia fighters impress and do good even in a losing effort, but this was flat out a dull performance. It was so bad that Leonardo came back to the corner and Robert was like, "What's going on, man? You're not even trying. You're not even fucking trying, man. What happened?" I'm surprised that Israel Mercado it's looking too good against you. And when I heard that, I was like, holy crap, that says a lot. I'm a big fan of Robert Garcia. He's one of the best trainers in the world, and for him to say that to his fighter says a lot, man. I mean, the results was showing in the fight. Leonardo was getting outboxed, beat to the punch. He looked discouraged at times. He was not adjusting, and that last round, man, Israel was laying it on him, man, and it was to the point that it looked like Leonardo was ready to go, but he held on, and he made it to the final bell. But when the results were decided and told, and the fight was scored a draw, everybody knew who won the fight. Leonardo lost that fight. His zero was protected by the judges, honestly. It's draw, bullcrap. He's supposed to be 9-1. Should a learning lesson for Leonardo. Maybe the draw is still a learning lesson, but still, he deserved the loss. He didn't deserve to keep his zero. Even Robert was like, when he congratulated Israel's trainer, you could see Robert's expression and the way they were talking, like, nah, you guys won, man. It is what it is. You guys won. Everybody know who won. You guys won. And yeah, I'm sure that's what was told by Robert and his trainer, that they Robert was telling him that you guys won and this and that. And I could imagine what Robert and Leonardo conversation was after they left the ring and went to the back. Like, hey man, you should have remembered. And also in the corner, Robert was like, because I think Leonardo told him that he was sick on Monday, the week of the fight. And Robert was like, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me, bro? It's too late now. Look where you are. You're in the ring. You're fighting now. Trying to bring up an excuse as to why he's performing so lousy and lackluster. And maybe he's right, but still, like Robert said, why didn't you tell me? Maybe the fight could have gotten canceled or something. Because now you're in the ring, your record is on the line, your zero is on the line. You know you were sick Monday. You didn't say anything, and now you're in here fighting. So yeah, the results were what it were, a draw, but it was bullcrap. I thought Israel comfortably won the fight by unanimous decision. Mercado was down in round one. They scored a knockdown. It's okay, I guess, when Mercado was hurt by that right hand, he held on and then he eventually went down. That's why they scored a knockdown. And then Mercado was deducted a point for a low blow. The referee warned him like once, I think, and then the second time, that was it, low blow. I felt the deduction point was bogus. It's not like the referee warned him like three times. No, he didn't. He only warned him, I think, like once. But anyway, it was what it was. Good fight, but the results was lousy. Next fight on the card, Ernesto Mercado, 16-0, 15 KOs, out of Pomona, California, versus former two-division world champion Jose El Sniper Pedraza. Is Puerto Rico. The thing is now, well, Pedraza 29-6, one draw, 14 KOs. This fight was a showcase basically for Ernesto Mercado. It's a shame, right? I'm saying it. I'm saying that Pedraza is being part of a showcase for a fighter, just to showcase his skills. It's crazy how boxing is and how sometimes a fighter's career turns out, because this is not what I wanted for Jose Pedraza. Jose Pedraza is a likable guy, very good fighter during his prime, two-division world champion, has been in there with some of the best in the sport, Gervonta Davis, Jose Ramirez, Jose Cepeda, Richard Colby, Vasily Lomachenko, Keyshawn Davis. Basically, Jose Pedraza doesn't duck smoke, but his days are well past. I don't think Ernesto Mercado could have done what he did to Pedraza last night 4 years ago, or five, back in 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. I don't think Ernesto would have had the success against Jose Pedraza back then. But it is what it is. That's the past. This is why Jose Pedraza is performing the way he is today because he's no longer the same. Last fight, he got stopped in 4 rounds by Keyshawn Davis, or five, and now he gets stopped in 4 rounds against Ernesto Mercado in in a more easier fashion. Yes, the shot that stopped the fight was behind the head, but I don't think that would have made a difference. I think Pedraza was on his way to losing a unanimous decision, a decision effort. Um, it was just a matter of time. If anything, a decision loss for Pedraza. Pedraza was not going to improve from what we were seeing prior to the stoppage. He was just going to go on the decline. He doesn't have it anymore. He's 35 years old. He's had his shares of give and take fights, and two-division world champion. He's took a lot of punishment in his career as well. He got hit by Big Puncher, by Tank. Um, he's been in tough, man. He's had a tremendous career though. He's had a tremendous career. I was happy for him during his prime. I was glad I was able to experience his prime. You know, bringing in solid wins over Raimundo Beltran, um, Antonio Lozada, Julian Bam Rodriguez, outboxing Javier Molina, landing over 100 punches on the rope against Lick Pearcy. It was during COVID. I forgot his name. They always show it on ESPN where Pedraza's like landing 100 punches on this guy, and this guy just covering up. You guys know what I'm talking about. I thought he won the fight with Richard Comey. Here's what I thought: the Jose Luis Ramirez fight, Jose Ramirez, to me that should have been a draw, and the fight with Richard Comey should have been a win for Pedraza. I thought Pedraza did enough to win the fight. Um, but yeah, Pedraza, this fight was lined up for Ernesto Mercado to win. Mercado is 23 years old. This was his first fight on Matchroom. So guess what? You had to impress. Thirdly, Pedraza hasn't won a fight since 2021, 4 years. That says a lot. So even though Mercado stepped in there with a two-division world champion and a guy with a lot of experience, that was not the same fighter. It was just a showcase. It was just the opportunity to put a big name on Mercado's record, and mission accomplished. He got the job done. Now he has a two-division world champion on his resume. Ernesto Mercado can fight, man. He can box. He got punching power. You can tell he's a fighter that likes to mix it up. He's not afraid of a firefight. Um, should be entertaining to watch and fight as time goes by. Like at 140 pounds, 140 pounds is one of the top weight classes right now. That's infested with sharks. And Ernesto Mercado will be fun to watch to see him mix it up with those fighters. Like a Surya Matias, Liam Paro, Richardson Hitchens, Gary Antoine Russell, any top 140, Catterall, Barbosa, Tiafimo, the list goes on and on, man. Ernesto Mercado is in a weight class that's highly competitive, and I think one of the most highly competitive weight classes in boxing right now. Third fight on the card, Olympic gold medalist Andy Cruz, Cuban sensation, 5-0, 2 KOs, as he took on Omar Celicio Gomez, 20-2, 14 KOs, out of Mexico, Jalisco, I believe. Former interim, coming off a win over former interim WBA titleist Chris Colbert. Omar Celicio knocked out Chris Colbert in the sixth round. Impressively, another pretty solid name on his resume going into the Andy Cruz fight. Andy Cruz fight. Andy Cruz, like I said, Olympic gold medalist, defeated Keyshawn Davis 4 times in the amateurs. Keyshawn was in attendance at the fight to see what Andy Cruz was up to, and Andy Cruz put on a solid performance, man. He put on a solid performance. He boxed. He stood his ground when he needed to. He jabbed. Combinations were on point, sharp, crisp. Omar Salicio Gomez was game as they come, as expected, punching power, chin, everything. And it was just a pretty good fight. But Andy Cruz, on his way to bigger and better things, of course. Closer and closer to a world title shot. My fight with Andy Cruz, I want to see him fight Keyshawn Davis. Everyone's waiting for it. I said to myself, you know what? Andy Cruz and Keyshawn Davis ain't gonna happen until these two get a belt. These two fighters have a belt. Andy Cruz is like in contention, I believe, for the WBA because right now he's holding the WBA title. So I believe when Andy Cruz becomes WBA champion and Keyshawn Davis wins the WBO title over Baranchik, if he wins, then you can see these two guys coming together to the unification, and then you have one of the biggest fights in boxing and rematches in boxing because this is a fight that happened four times in the amateurs. And Andy Cruz won all four. So it will be interesting to see what Keyshawn Davis can do this time around in their fifth fight. Yes, it was amateurs. Now this is pro. Different ball game, right? But Andy Cruz, he was able to give it to Keyshawn four times. Keyshawn was not able to solve that problem four times. Styles make fights in boxing. What difference can Keyshawn make this time around? Yes, Keyshawn, I'm sure, has developed to a much different, much better fighter since then. And of course, you got to say Andy Cruz has developed into a much better fighter since then. So what a fight, right? But still, Andy Cruz has his number so far four times and likely fifth time if they do fight. We'll see. We'll see. But it is a highly anticipated fight to see. I can't wait for it. It's being marinated so far, and I can't wait for it. Now, last but not least, the fight that everyone bought a ticket for. The main event. Diego Pacheco, 22 and 0, 18 KOs versus Steven Coolboy Nelson, 20 and 0, 16 KOs. It was a fight between two top super middleweights. Diego Pacheco, who's ranked number one in the WBO, number six in the IBF, and number three in the WBC. Stephen Coolboy Nelson, ranked number 14 in the WBO. That's this morning. I'm sure he was ranked pretty higher than that coming into the Diego Pacheco fight. Uh, be that as it may, the fight was scored 117, 111, unanimous decision in favor of Pacheco, and I disagree with that. I thought the fight was much closer than that. I gave Diego. I had the fight score 6-6. That's a draw, right? But also it could have gone either way. What I don't like was the 117, 111. All judges scored it the same way. 117, 111. Too wide for me. The first four rounds I gave it to Steven Nelson. Um, the first four, one through four was all cool boy. Uh, the rest was Diego Pacheco until 11th and 12th. I gave it to Stephen Coolboy Nelson. Stephen Coolboy, I thought he won the 11 12. He closed both rounds, those last two rounds strong. He did his damage. And I thought the fight was 6-6 and it could have gone either way. If they wanted to give it a draw, which is how I had it, so be it. And if they wanted to give it to Diego by split decision or by Stephen Coolboy split decision, so be it. But Diego winning, I have no problem. The only problem I have was this 117, 111 unanimous decision by all three judges in favor of Diego Pacheco, meaning they were not meaning Coolboy didn't have a chance to win the fight. It's like Diego was dominating this fight, which was not the case. Stephen Coolboy Nelson was in tremendous shape. He boxed well. He was very aggressive. He looked like he wanted to win in there. He came to win. He did not came for a paycheck. At 36, you know what time it is. You know, it's hard to get a title shot at this stage in your career, 36, even though you're undefeated. So Steven was in there taking advantage of it as much as he can. You know, he put up a hell of a fight. He won a lot of rounds. Like I said, 6-6. I had the fight scored. Diego Pacheco could have won this fight. Like I said, Diego winning is a no problem for me. I just didn't like that they gave it to him 117, 111, unanimous decision, like he dominated the fight. Because those scores are dominant or is a dominant victory. Now, the fight was really good. I was really surprised by Stephen Coolboy Nelson's performance. He really did more than I expected. Like I said, he was in tremendous shape. He had a game plan with Bomac. Bomac, one of the top trainers in the sport, asked Terrence Crawford about that. And yeah, they had an excellent game plan. They executed it. The cut was part of the was a problem, but it didn't stop Schoolboy from trying to go in there and win the fight. But yeah, it was a battle between two undefeated two super middleweights, and Stephen Coolboy Nelson will be back, man. He put up a hell of a fight. Could have gone either way for me. I thought he would have won the fight or get a draw, or both ways. Diego Pacheco split decision win or draw. I just didn't see unanimous. It's crazy. Um, Anywho, what's next for Diego Pacheco? You got three names on here: Edgar Berlanga, Christian Mabili, and Canelo Albert. Well, Jaime Munguia also actually, because even though Pacheco is ranked number one in the WBO, Canelo the champion. But like how the commentators are saying, Pacheco is not ready for Canelo Alvarez. You put him in there now with Canelo Alvarez will destroy him, KO him likely. Sometimes these organizations they don't work that way because of a fighter being ranked one. He's ready for the fight, the champion. No, sometimes it doesn't work like that. Otherwise, Xander Zayas would have already been fighting for a world title in his next fight, and he's not. Because right now, Xander Zayas is ranked number one in the WBO, and he's not even fighting for a world title in his next fight. He's fighting Spoomer from Spain, um, 20-0 undefeated. Pretty good fighter, but it's not a world title fight. So that's an example. Diego Pacheco needs to continue what he's doing, beating fighters like Stephen Coolboy, top 10, top 15. Edgar Berlanga versus Diego Pacheco versus Edgar Berlanga is Mexico versus Puerto Rico. That's gonna sell automatically, always does, and stylistically is a tremendous fight. These two guys, they don't back up. They got punching power. They're big. I think Edgar is a more physically stronger guy. I think in terms of punching power, I want to give it to Edgar Berlanga. Um, Chin, well, we all seen Edgar dropped against Canelo Alvarez and Coceres, but never really hurt. He got dropped, got up, shake it off, and continued fighting. Diego has never been dropped, but that also means that he's never been chin checked before, like how Edgar has. Diego had never eaten a clean left hook by Canelo Alvarez, like how Edgar did, and Cosilla was never well. Cosilla was able to land on Diego, and he was able to take him. Maybe Diego does have a better chin, but still, eating a flush cleft hook by Canelo, Diego has not experienced that. Edgar has. We don't know if Diego will be able to take that, but Edgar showed that he could have taken it, that he took it, and fought back. But be that as it may, Edgar being in there with Canelo Alvarez, um, it just a leap over Diego. Even though he lost, it was a big experience for Edgar. So fighting Diego coming off of Canelo Alvarez loss, spirited loss, will do good for Edgar. Bring a lot of experience in there, learn a lot, and it'll make for a tremendous fight. It's a fight that I would like to see. I hope it happens soon. And another one is Christian Mabili, Canadian fighter, IBF champion at 168 pounds. Aggressive, hard puncher, both hands. That's a tremendous fight as well. So there's exciting fights for Diego to make, and I'm looking forward to what's next for him. Stephen Coolboy, he'll definitely be back at 36 years old, man. He performed like he was 26 last night, and I was really impressed. Like I said, he could have won the fight last night in my eyes or draw. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you guys think about these fights results. What do you think about the fights last night? The main event. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, guys. It is always a pleasure to talk to you guys about boxing. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.